quite there yet. Both teams, of course, have players missing international duty, a little bit of an injury. But, yeah, it's going to be two 45-minute halves with two distinct 11s and a strong lineup from Seattle, especially in the attack.
Let's go with the Seattle lineup. Tyler Miller in goal. We understand he'll play the full 90. The back four, Dominic Oduro, Gale, Agbus, Omande. We'll probably be calling him Gale the whole evening to move things along. Tony Alfaro, Jovan Jones. Holding for the Sounders will be Christian Roldan and Gustav Svensson. In the 4-2-3-1 on the outside of the three, Alvaro Fernandez on the left, Nico Ladero on the right, Clint Dempsey in the middle, Will Bruin up top. We'll obviously talk about Clint Dempsey in a moment.
4-2-3-1 for the Timbers. Jake Gleason making his first appearance of the preseason in goal. Vitas, Liam Ridgewell, Renico Clark, Chance Myers, left to right in the back line. Diego Chara, David Guzman holding. Darren Maddox, Diego Valeri, Dyron Espria in the midfield. Fernando Adi up top for Caleb Porter and the Timbers.
And we are underway here at the Keno Sports Complex. A beautiful evening, beautiful sunsets in the desert as Tony Alfaro moves it down the pitch. A little bit of slip, but no problem for Jake Gleason as he knocks the ball forward. The story for the Sounders, obviously, Jake, is Clint Dempsey, who was shut down after August 21st due to an irregular heartbeat, making his first appearance in major news, really in MLS and in U.S. soccer in general.
Yeah, and maybe in international soccer when you consider what it means to the U.S. national team. And, you know, he's, of course, a villain to the Timbers, but I think everybody that supported the Timbers and everybody certainly around the organization felt for Clint Dempsey last year when he had to end his season prematurely. It's a scary situation, an irregular heartbeat. It's good to see him back out playing.
Nice move by Jovan Jones to get the ball flicked to Alvaro Fernandez. Fernandez back to Jones down the left flank. Slides it in the middle. Looking for Will Bruin too far. That'll go out harmlessly for a throw into Portland. And I've explained it to Seattle fans. It wasn't a torn ankle or a busted up knee dealing with an irregular heartbeat. So shut it down, get things fixed, and get it right.
Yeah, and that's, you know, it goes beyond soccer, right? Something like that. I mean, it's personal safety. Like you said, it's not an ACL. It's not a sprained ankle. It's a lot more serious than that.
Here's Dempsey on the ball in the right corner. Drops it back to Ladero. Back to Dempsey. Jovan Jones cuts inside, shut down nicely by Portland. Off they go, but again, Jovan Jones does a nice job. Now, we'll get along tonight, correct?
I think we can make that deal. We you know, so far, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, of course.
You know, I always get in trouble for saying how nice Providence Park is and the perch that is amazing where we sit for those games. And Casey Keller always said, well, just if you like it, just say it. I said, yeah, I just don't like the hate emails.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal rivalry between the Timbers and Sounders, and what makes it so good, I think, of course, is the success that both teams have had, the last two MLS Cup winners, and of course the atmospheres and the fan bases that the two squads have. The two best in the league. I don't think anybody across the country would argue that Portland and Seattle are 1 and 2. Now they might argue which is 1 and which is 2, but certainly no one would disagree that they are 1 and 2.
And not to be Switzerland, Jake and I will not be arguing those points here this evening.
No, we will not.
Dempsey, Ladero. He's got Alvaro Fernandez outside. He'll use him. Alvaro cutting into the box. Back inside, nice play by Portland, knocking it out of bounds for a corner kick.
Good to see that from David Guzman. He's a big addition to the Timbers this year. Defensive midfielder from Costa Rica, came over from Saprissa. He's going to be the starting number 6, the holding midfielder for Caleb Porter and the Timbers this season. His insertion into the team will allow Diego Chara to be more of a number 8, a box-to-box midfielder. The Timbers are really excited about that partnership in the defensive midfield.
Love to talk about Saprissa later in the pipeline to MLS. Yeah. Nico Ladero over this corner deep. Behind a stand. We know he's back there. There's a nice shot of him. Sends it in. Dempsey strikes it. I believe Vitas knocked that out for another corner. Far side, second of the evening for Seattle.
Certainly a good test for the Timbers back line in the preseason. I mean, this is close, maybe with the exception of Jordan Morris not in there. This is close to Seattle's starting attacking group. Wouldn't be surprised to see these guys out there, of course, on opening day. Will Bruin, number 9, and he's an established striker.
Ladero sends it again. Another nice job by Portland. It'll be out for the third corner kick right away. Espria knocking that out. A little too far from that corner from Ladero. He's getting his exercise going back and forth.
Got to get fit in the preseason, right? Some early fitness for Nico Ladero.
Most of the squad you'll see here on both teams will go 45. We'll see many subs, some trialists, academy players knocked in. Dempsey can't get a hold of it. Back post for Will Bruin. He tries to get around Vitas, who does a nice job, and off go the Timbers. Looking for an outlet. Found in Maddox. Speedster had it for a moment.
It was a great ball from Espria. Unfortunately, Maddox maybe not quite ready for it. The Timbers like the speed in their counterattack. We've seen it really the past 3 years, but the group out here now with Darren Maddox, Dairon Espria, Fernando Adi, Diego Valeri, Diego Chara when he gets forward, extremely dangerous in a counter off a corner kick, a situation like that. It's going to scare opposing back lines to have those 5 guys sprinting at him. And then when Darlington Nagbe comes back from international duty and Sebastian Blanco, the new designated player, coming to the league, there's a lot of attacking depth on the Timbers this season.
An exciting addition for the Portland Timbers here in the last few days, Blanco.
He's in Tucson now, arrived on Thursday, not going to play today. He was in the middle of a season essentially in Argentina, so he's already fit. A lot of flying, as you can imagine, to get from Argentina to Portland and then down to Tucson. So we'll most likely see him in the Timbers preseason tournament back in Portland next week and in the next upcoming weeks, possibly on Thursday against Real Salt Lake at Providence Park. But a little too soon tonight for Sebastian Blanco.
But what options Caleb Porter has if everyone stays healthy with Maddox and Valeri and Nagbe, who's not back yet from the U.S. match versus Jamaica.
It's a big thing for the Timbers this year. We'll talk about it in a moment as this is promising.
Valeri stopped in his tracks, but nice movement. Rolled on back to Tyler Miller.
Caleb Porter stressed the depth of the team this year, and he thought that last year they didn't quite have that. 2015, that was such a strong point of the team that won MLS Cup, and in their run to the trophy, injuries, yellow card suspensions, red card suspensions, it didn't matter. The team never lost a beat. They didn't have that last year, and they tried to regain that sort of depth in the offseason. They think they've done that. Certainly when you look at the attack, it's pretty scary how deep they go. Even 2-3 deep at every position of guys that Caleb Porter's going to feel comfortable starting.
Roldan on the ball. Drove right into a couple players. Nicely done by Maddox. Knocks the ball off of Roldan. Roldan looking for a call. Referee tonight, Alan Kelly. Sounder fans might remember him in the MLS Cup final in Toronto on December 10th. Very acclaimed centerman for us this evening. Sounders looking for an offside, but nothing given. Gale heads that ball away. Off go Portland Timbers. Little chance for Valeri. Shut down. Again, Portland, top of the box with Espria. Vitas. Out wide left. Sent in again. Adi posting up. Does what he does best, just over the bar. Great opportunity for the Portland Timbers here in the 8th minute. First real opportunity for the Portland Timbers. Replay for you as the ball knocked down, fell right nicely to Valeri. And that's really what Portland wants to see, and Sounder fans don't, as Adi close to the box posting up. He's unstoppable. He's just been a menace for the Sounder fans. Unbelievable in Providence Park here this past year.
Yeah, there are very few center backs in MLS that can handle him physically. I remember memorably opening day last year, Greg Berhalter was asked about how to stop Fernando Adi, and he essentially said, how many guys like Adi are there in the league? Yeah. He's so big, so powerful, and his hold-up play, I think, really improved so much last year. But seeing a guy like Darren Maddox run off it, that's what the Timbers were working on in training as they progress from the beginning of preseason towards March 3rd, add in different things, and today they want to see combinations in the attack.
There he goes again. Swept away by Jovan Jones. He's not there. Adi's got a great one-on-one with Tyler Miller. Last chance defending by Jovan Jones. but he does his job, throw in for Portland. You can see the runs that you're just talking about, Jake. Everyone's moving forward, puts the defense on their back foot.
Yeah, again, that's what was stressed for this match. It was stressed in training in the lead up to this match, was combining in the attack in the final third. Valeri, Maddox, Asprilla, Adi, creating chances in the box. It was kind of not necessarily the last to come because there's a long way to go in the preseason, but the first two matches, they hadn't worked on that a lot in training. Caleb Porter was, I think, interested to see what his attack would look like today after having a few training sessions, really focusing on the attack. And so far, 10 minutes in, generated a couple nice combinations in the final third. I think he's going to be pleased.
Great opportunity for the Sounders back four. Obviously, Jovan Jones made 33 appearances, and here's Ladero taking off with the ball, looking for Alvaro Fernandez. That's taken away by Chance Myers, just inches away from where Alvaro wanted it. But Jovan Jones, youngster Tony Alfaro getting a chance. And the other two youngsters on the right-hand side, a little too far for Asprilla, Gale and Dominic Aduro. Both young guys going against well-established MLS, and let's just say it as Valeri and Adi, MLS stars. Adi with 16 goals, and Valeri with 14 goals and 7 assists. These are studs out here, third game in with the Sounders, just their first. And Brian Schmetzer wanted to see these guys have an opportunity against these youngsters, against the established guys.
It's certainly a tough task. I mean, you look at the Timbers front four, really front six. I mean, that could be a starting group for Portland. Obviously, as I mentioned, you have Nagbe and Blanco that are likely going to start on March 3rd, but nobody would bat an eye if this was a starting lineup that the Timbers put out, especially in the front six. Meanwhile, the Sounders back line, I don't think it's unfair to say Jovan Jones is the only starter that's starting tonight for Seattle. Tough task for a young and inexperienced Sounders back line in the first preseason match.
That's Jake Zivin. My name's Matt Johnson. He's Portland. I'm Seattle. But again, we'll get along this evening. Tony Alfaro back to Tyler Miller. The foul on Clark on Will Bruin. Sounders didn't go long with it. Ball bounces off a couple heads for the Sounders, right to Liam Ridgewell. Veteran center back from England. Finds Chara. And we might see a little bit of this. The ball bouncing around the middle. Alan Kelly wants to talk to Gale. That was a pretty strong tackle.
Fernando Adi was not pleased. It is just a preseason game, and I think the mantra from any team in the preseason, goal number one in any match, is to leave healthy.
Absolutely.
You don't want to see dangerous tackles. You don't want to see anything that could put the player's safety at risk, especially in the first week of February.
Never forget, at the end of preseason a couple years ago, a flying tackle by Ozzie Alonso was questioned by everyone in the league except for Ozzie. Ozzie said he got all ball, and we all just went, oh! Another searching ball looking for Asprilla. Finds it. Comes around. Myers, Asprilla. Two Sounders come to it. Alvaro Fernandez first to it, looking for Dempsey. Again, nicely done by Guzman. Guzman with his orange boots, easy to pick out.
First glimpse for a lot of Timber supporters of David Guzman. Didn't play on last Friday night, their first preseason match against New York. Did play against NK Istra, the Croatian side, on Tuesday, but that match was essentially a closed-door scrimmage. So this kind of the public's first look at a guy who's really going to feature prominently and importantly for the Timbers in 2017.
Same with Sounder fans with Gustav Svensson right in the middle in Ozzie's role. Ozzie taking the evening off. Ladero, Oduro. Aduro, just a 22-year-old from Ghana, drafted this year with the 45th overall pick in the second round, starting right back.
And not the Montreal Impact's Dominic Aduro.
The speedster. He's just the fastest thing on turf.
He always has been. And still going.
Yeah, it was
quite a career Dominic Aduro has had. Still effective, still causing problems with his speed.
Alfaro makes Miller run. Long ball, Vitas takes care of it. And Valeri, the danger man, top of the box. Cut down by Gale. Nice job by the defender. Alvaro Fernandez goes down dramatically from a tug down by Chance Myers. Alan Kelly might have a conversation with Chance Myers, who's gotten a haircut since the last time I've seen him.
Yeah, his biopic on, I don't know if it's updated now, but long hair, long blonde mustache. Playing for Sporting Kansas City for 9 seasons. Came over as a free agent just before the beginning of the preseason. Wanted to play in Portland. Likely providing cover behind Elvis Powell at the right back spot for the Timbers this season. Elvis Powell, of course, with Jamaica, played against the United States last night.
Svensson skims one to Dempsey. Dempsey couldn't handle it. Myers out of bounds. Sounders throwing right at midfield. Brian Schmetzer, Seattle Sounders head coach. Obviously the interim coach on July 26th, got the head coaching role on November 2nd. Made an amazing run, really historic run for the Sounders. Dempsey trying to get around Guzman, can't do it.
It's a couple times Guzman has won that battle between himself and Clint Dempsey. That's really going to encourage Timbers fans.
Alfaro keeps his man on. Audie's got a chance here, right of goal. Tyler Miller does well, kind of scuffed the shot. Audie could have done better. Alfaro kept him on. Now Roldan and Ladero have communication issues. Valeri, nice ball to Audie once again. Ball comes back to Tyler Miller. He'll crush it out of bounds, but some opportunities for the Sounders, giving up the ball deep in their own third.
Yeah, first 3 minutes of the match, it was Seattle creating, but since then, it's really been the Timbers causing a lot of danger. Obviously, Fernando Audie is going to want to have done better with this chance, but the Timbers have got to be encouraged with how many opportunities, dangerous opportunities, they've created for themselves in the first 15 minutes of this match.
Just 16 minutes in and pretty wide open. I kind of thought in my mind, just first game for the Sounders and could be a little scrappy middle of the park, but it's been decent so far. Alan Kelly reaches in to his pocket for the first time this evening.
Yeah, during the replay, Darren Maddox streaking down the left side, got to the byline, got around Dominic Oduro. Here's a look, and Oduro taking him out. Alan Kelly showing a yellow, and a dangerous restart coming for the Timbers.
Relatively easy yellow card call for Alan Kelly. Oduro in the 17th.
And again, the attack looking sharp. By far the sharpest we've seen the Timbers attack in this preseason.
Valeri, of course, over it. Dangerous spot for the Argentine. 6 Timbers in the box. Knocked around and in the back of the net. Just that easy. Fernando Audie, he'll claim it, obviously. Valeri sets it in. Audie punches it in the back of the net past Tyler Miller. 1-0 in the 17th.
Well, it certainly felt like that was coming. The Timbers dangerous for the past really 12, 13, 14 minutes. Creating opportunities, getting into danger spots. Fernando Audie attacking that cross from Diego Valeri. Great ball from the maestro, Diego Valeri. Nothing Tyler Miller could do, certainly. That combination has been so deadly the past few seasons. And I know the Portland Timbers supporters, Caleb Porter, high expectations for the attack this season. Those two, Darlington Nagbe, Sebastian Blanco, got Maddox and Espria. Potent attack.
Audie once again had 16 goals in the regular season last year. Starts out tonight's match from Valeri in the 17th. Sounders giving away the ball cheaply a few times. Portland made him pay early on. Tyler Miller. Look at Alfaro. Around Valeri. Alfaro. Will Bruin. Ladero just inches away once again. Ball falls right to Clint Dempsey. Drop it back to Svensson. Ladero. Ladero head up all the time, dragged down by Audie. Easy call. Ladero pops up looking to take it quick, and he does to Svensson. 29-year-old from Sweden pushes the ball to his right. Liam Ridgewell. clears that. Maddox, long ball, looking for Adi once again. Espria. Knocked down, Jovan Jones. Espria, easy call. Right in front of the linesman. Foul, Portland.
Great speed from Jovan Jones. He, of course, can run. So can Dyron Espria, but I think Espria is going to like that ball that Maddox played him. Usually you put Espria in space and he'll run it down. Same can be said, of course, from Darren Maddox.
Toe poke from Ladero, just inches away. Ball bouncing around. The final pass to make the movement for the Sounders a little off.
You would expect that. To be fair to Seattle, you mentioned it early. This is their first match of the preseason. This is the Timbers' third. They've each been training for about the same amount of time, but you would expect the Timbers maybe to be a little sharper because of that in a game-like situation. And again, especially when you look at the starting 11s, the back line for Seattle, quite inexperienced compared to a starting caliber front four for Portland.
Portland will head home after this match. Head home tomorrow. The Sounders face the San Jose Earthquakes, which is being described as a scrimmage on Tuesday. I want to say it's 9:30 Pacific. It'll also be right here on SoundersFC.com. Come back home, head to Charleston. 3 matches in the Charleston Cup.
Timbers
off to the regular season.
Yeah, Timbers, of course, as you mentioned, back home for their annual preseason tournament. Starts on Thursday against Real Salt Lake. 7:30 start. Then Sunday against Minnesota United. It's a 5 o'clock start on a Sunday evening, the 12th. And then midweek Wednesday, the 15th, Vancouver Whitecaps. 7:30 start. Those matches will all be on Timbers.com. And Timbers get Seattle tonight. They get Vancouver on the 15th. It's been a preseason tradition that they play their Cascadia rivals in warm-ups before the season starts. I think it helps have a little extra intensity in these preseason matches. This is a lot different than a 10 a.m. friendly. As you mentioned, Seattle will be playing against San Jose on Tuesday. That's going to have a different feel to it. Timbers played one of those against NK Istra, a Croatian side, earlier this week.
Vitas looking for Adi. The game all of a sudden getting very physical. Oduro down, rolling on the pitch. Ladero trying to get around Guzman. Can't. Valeri. As Adi's still down on the ground. Roldan comes to it. Inside to Jovan Jones. He recognizes that players are on the pitch. Alan Kelly coming over to Adi to check in on him. But it got rough there for a moment. Oduro went flying, little cartwheel. Adi down.
We mentioned it earlier, but goal number 1 in a preseason match is to avoid
Cross
injury.
your fingers.
It does seem like this is going to be one that will be a short-term injury for Fernando Adi.
Your squad's playing Minnesota a couple times. What's your thoughts on expansion? I'm pretty excited to see Atlanta.
Certainly.
As we take another look at the goal, I don't want to say a diving header, but he did exactly what he needed to do, just flick it in the back of the net.
He'll call it a diving header. Yeah. I think he'll take credit for that. It was a little bit of a dive. Yeah, I mean, obviously Minnesota and Atlanta have gone about it different ways, right? I mean, you look at Atlanta, big money signings overseas, a lot of South Americans, big names, spending a lot of money to do it. Minnesota, they don't have a designated player yet, and they're, I think, building more domestically, and it's going to be interesting to see those 2 different approaches and how they work joining the league at the same time. Caleb Porter, Portland Timbers head coach in his 5th season now, told me that this offseason brought a hard reset to the team after not making the playoffs. He didn't want to forget what got the team to being a champion. It didn't want to totally start over. That wasn't needed. This is still an organization that is only, 15 months removed from being MLS Cup champs. But he said that
it wakes everybody up,
it wakes everybody up. He essentially said that he looks at failure of last season as feedback, and almost is more beneficial that they didn't make the playoffs than it would have been had they snuck in on the final day, because it makes them take kind of a hard look at what's going on. But again, he stressed that they need to remember the success that they've had.
Nice play. Alvaro Fernandez in the box. Flicks it in. Just inches away from Will Bruin. Nicely done by the Portland Timbers. Get that ball out, but a nice quick play. Alvaro Fernandez cutting in the middle. Looking for Bruin, the center man. He's getting a great opportunity. He leaves Houston with a fresh start, kind of similar to Chad Marshall did a couple years ago from Columbus. Will Bruin told me recently he's ready to go and find somewhere new, and he lands in Seattle. Foul in the box by Alan Kelly calls it.
The Sounders will be happy with that last attack. It had been about 20 minutes since they were able to really put any pressure on the Timbers back line and Jake Gleason.
Ladero's been off just by inches on a couple different through balls. Great movement in the middle of the park. Adi back up on it. Long ball miss.
A little too much on that ball from Renico Clark. Big opportunity here for Renico Clark, starting alongside Liam Ridgewell, just 21 years old, a center back, signed from T2, the USL team, in the offseason. Benga Arakoyo was projected to be the starter coming into the season, but he tore his Achilles in training this week. Talk more about that in a moment.
Valeri intercepts a Dempsey pass, looking for Maddox. Chara up front. Now the ball dropped to Vitas. Guzman. Up comes Dempsey, out wide to Chance Myers to try to take on Uruguayan Fernandez. Fernandez comes up with it, but again, Clark right in the right spot.
Yeah, that's well done from Clark. He's not afraid to step up and win a ball in the midfield. Composure as well on the ball to keep possession.
Valeri, Vitas. Maddox, far side. Nice bit of defense by Roldan. Will Bruin shizzling off Chara. Chara digging at him till he get the ball loose. Valeri, Adi. Back to Valeri, wants Maddox to overlap. He does. Out comes Oduro. He'll pop the ball up, but Svensson right there with his big leg. Ladero brought down by Maddox, and off goes Ladero through Roldan. Oh, Ladero just wiped out by Chara, and that's going to be a card on Chara as Ladero goes down. Easy call for Alan Kelly. Both yellow cards have been easy calls, but Chara late to Ladero's quick feet. Yellow card for Chara in the 26th. Neither coach wants to see these things. You know what I mean? I don't want to say, oh, Brian Schmetzer doesn't want to see. Caleb Porter doesn't want to have Maddox wiped out on the byline, you know.
That's Diego Chara, right? I think it's hard to tell him to play at anything but 100% how he always does play. But, yeah, it's a yellow card, no doubt about it. It's a yellow card in the preseason. It's a yellow card in the regular season. Certainly not.
Alfaro. Again, looking for Jovan Jones overlapping, getting by Chance Myers, brings it in. Will Bruin just over his head. Nice bit of movement, just the final ball missing from Jovan Jones in the 27th, but nice ball by Tony Alfaro, natural left footer. Good with his feet. Nice passing center back in there for Chad Marshall, who's on U.S. national duty, as is obviously Brad Evans, Morris. I see O'Neal Fisher on the bench, has already made his way back from Chattanooga.
Yeah, long journey to get from Chattanooga to Tucson. I wonder how many connections you got to make for that.
Down goes Dempsey. Another call on Chara. Dempsey immediately pops up and looking to be over this ball here in the 28th. Yeah, dedication, like he needs a like he needs a gig.
Well, the U.S. the U.S. national teamers on both sides, they didn't make it here. Darlington Nagbe going straight back to Portland. The team flies back in the morning, so for the Timbers especially, doesn't make any sense for Darlington to come here for one night, sit on the bench, and then fly back to Portland with the group in the morning.
Yeah, a couple connections. Chattanooga to Tucson.
Maybe Atlanta to Phoenix down to Tucson.
He used miles.
Yeah.
He probably used miles. Dempsey, Ladero over it. You would think Ladero. Dempsey looked to take it, and he does. Off the wall, nicely done by the wall, out of bounds for another corner kick. It looked natural for Ladero, but how are you going to talk Dempsey off the free kick coming back from August 21st?
I think Sounder supporters are going to feel just fine seeing Dempsey over that ball.
Fourth corner kick taken short to Fernandez. Ladero back to Oduro. Sends it in. Nice ball. Vergale can't get it. Dempsey, little flying half volley right to Gleason. Gleason does well. Well positioned. Knock that ball down, collect, And out to Vitas.
The first kind of half test for Jake Gleason in the preseason. He was up to the task. Had to see through a crowd, I think. Reacted well.
First shot on goal for the Seattle Sounders here in the 29th. Roldan. Dempsey shouldered off the ball, says Alan Kelly. Jobin Jones fighting for it. Espria comes away. Adi. Guzman. Valeri immediately his head up looking for Adi, his partner in crime. That ball just a bit too far. Tyler Miller scoops and tosses.
Right there, that's what Dairon Espria brings. He's going to go back. He's going to work hard. He's strong on the ball. He's going to defend.
Fernandez around Valeri. Roldan a little too far, asked to run. To Chance Myers. Valeri. Chara. Guzman. Back out wide to the UCLA grad and Chance Myers. Guzman drops to Clark.
Getting back to the point, I want to get back to the point about the center backs for the Timbers and Renico Clark. He's getting a chance now to play alongside Liam Ridgewell, but Caleb Porter stressed that this team is still looking to sign a starting center back. They traded for Lawrence Olam just a couple of days ago, but that's
solid. He's a solid work.
The thought with him is depth at the 6, behind David Guzman as a defensive midfielder, not necessarily at center back. Of course, he can play center back. He has in his career, but they view him, the Timbers view him more as a number 6, more as a defensive midfielder. Still out there to sign a starting center back to replace Benga Arakoyo, who went down with an Achilles injury. But for Renico Clark, this is an opportunity to really impress.
And that'll do it for Dempsey. Dempsey goes 30 minutes. That was the plan for Clint here this evening. He gets a big round of applause from Sounder fans anyways. As Harry Shipp, another new man. Will Bruin from Houston, Harry Shipp from Montreal. The starlet that was everything for Chicago. He was shocked by the trade that Chicago made to send him to Montreal. But Dempsey gets a nice run of 30 minutes and looked very active. Talking to the coaching staff last night, Dempsey's very excited to get back into it and be part of hopefully another playoff run for the Sounders. He very much missed it. He made the trips, was with the team at all times, was working out in Toronto, but very much wants to be a part of another run by the Sounders.
Yeah, as you mentioned earlier, good to see him back healthy and back out on the field again. And now that he is healthy and he's made his return, I think Timber supporters can go back to feeling like Clint Dempsey is the villain.
Well, I looked
the villain
over.
Is the face of the Seattle
There
Sounders,
were a few
right?
waves to Clint Dempsey we didn't really show on the feed. So as long as he's healthy, I guess everything's back to the norm for Dempsey fans in Portland and the lack thereof, as Dempsey has had pretty good success.
Never forget him getting booed as part of the MLS All-Star team at Providence Park against Bayern Munich. Even when representing the league in the league All-Star game, booed in Portland.
Oduro with the overlap. Yeah, and this is the one side where he's had a couple good games in Providence Park. Now, last year...
He's had a couple of good games in a lot of venues.
Yeah, that's
MLS,
right. That's right. But they aren't here waving at him like Alvaro Fernandez in the middle of that, but Guzman takes that loose ball. Will Bruin gets in the way. Svensson, Ladero. Wants Jobin Jones to move. Moves a little too late, so he goes short to Roldan. Now out to Jobin Jones. Roldan. Alfaro. Portland took the series last year 2-1, winning both games in Portland, really hammering the Sounders at Providence Park, outscoring the Sounders 7-3 at Providence Park. Seattle did get a 3-1 win up in Seattle. Tyler Miller quickly gets to Alfaro. Dempsey had a couple goals there. Ladero dummies it to Roldan.
If we see 14 goals in the 3 games between these two teams this year like we did last year, we'll be happy with the
double
series.
The ticket price.
Yeah, exactly.
Jobin Jones, Ladero, off goes Jones. Can he get by Myers? He's down in the corner. Myers goes sliding. Jobin Jones got a little bit of time. Roldan, top of the box. A little bit too much time. Chara right there with a crunching tackle. Roldan still down. Maddox. Adi, nice move around Gale. Still Adi going down the left flank. Maddox short, looking for Maddox. Alfaro right there, and Roldan's gotten up and he's moving to the center circle. That was a big tackle from Chara starting that counterattack.
And again, the Timbers are going to be pleased with the positions they're getting in. Obviously, a 3-on-2 as it was. Wish that they had done a little better. I think Adi was trying to find Diego Valeri on the back post. A little bit more on that ball, a little more height, and it gets to him, and he's all alone. But just getting in those opportunities, in those situations, starting those counterattacks, they've looked dangerous. They've looked sharp in this first half, and that's really good to see the first week of February.
Knocked out of bounds for a Portland throw-in. Svensson comes away with it. Ladero. Foul on Portland, Alan Kelly calls. A lot of hands on Ladero early on. He had a little bit of a break. He played practically 18 straight months, Nicholas Ladero. There goes Alvaro Fernandez. Can he get around Myers? Brings the ball down nicely with his chest. Corner of the box. Drops. Now he first times it was Roldan. Just skims it right into the arms of Jake Gleason. But a nice move from Alvaro Fernandez finding Roldan, who one time instead of taking a touch like he did the time before when Chara got him. But nice shot. Nice goalkeeping by Gleason.
Gleason sure-handed again. Both of the kind of major attempts from the Sounders, that from Roldan and Dempsey's kind of scissor kick earlier. Didn't challenge him too much. Didn't have to, go down too far to either side. But this is his first game action of the preseason. And good to see him sure-handed, as Timbers certainly expect him to be.
Fernandez trying to tackle Myers. Couldn't get the ball away. Jovan Jones does the job. Svensson, Ladero, harassed by Guzman. Jovan Jones, nice little one-timer to Fernandez. 3-on-5 for the Sounders, so Fernandez will bring it back. Ladero makes a run, gets the ball from Fernandez. Outside left to Harry Shipp. Shipp stood up. Nice bit of defense from Portland. Harry Shipp's got to come all the way back. Taken on by Esprilla, drops it back to Jovan Jones. Sounders knocking the ball around here in the 37th.
A strong one-on-one defending there from Renico Clark to force Harry Shipp back away from a dangerous position.
Off go Portland again down the left-hand side through Valeri. Got Maddox overlapping, Adi in the middle. Esprilla, 30 yards from goal. Two Sounders around him, and Jones and Svensson. Drops it to Guzman. Harry Shipp now the third Sounder. Jovan Jones coming out to Esprilla. Esprilla knocking it around. Jovan still right on his tail. Guzman now challenged by Harry Shipp. Guzman drops it all the way back to Clark. Gets around Will Bruin. Chara harassed by Ladero. Vitas. Chara. Nice possession here by the Timbers in the 37th. Guzman. We do want to mention tonight, video assistant referee.
Yeah, it's in play.
It's going to be new for us in the preseason. VAR. It was used yesterday. Jovan Jones fouling Esprilla. And I was actually at breakfast, and the referees for tonight's match were near me talking about the decision that you saw. And it's going to be, I'm all for it. If you can get something right and not interrupt the flow, I'm all for it. American sports is headed that way, Jake.
Yeah, we're used to it in America. Frankly, soccer's the last one to the party when it comes to the American major sports. And if it happens in this game, I'm sure we'll talk more about it. But if there's a play that warrants it, then we'll see it today. It could be either a goal, it could be a penalty kick decision, it could be a red card, or it could be a case of mistaken identity on a yellow card or a red card. Those are the only 4 situations that it could be used. And it's got to be essentially a clear error. Error might be the wrong word, but clear that the call needs to be corrected with the assistance of video.
Too high a foot from Gale Agbusomande. That's right, that was a little much, I know. But when they've got long names like that, you kind of pretend like you know what the heck you're talking about. High foot. He didn't like the call from Alan Kelly, but here's the magician from Argentina, Diego Valeri over it. Another very dangerous spot here for the Timbers. Drives it in right into Tyler Miller. little flick from anybody, and that's by Tyler Miller, but right in the gut for Miller, looking to get loose early, but then he just rolls it out to Svensson.
That's a good ball from Valeri. Obviously wanted it to be maybe more in one of the two corners, but as you mentioned, he's just trying to put it in a dangerous spot. Trouble Tyler Miller. Hope that maybe Fernando Waddy, Liam Ridgewell can get a touch to it. Maybe it comes off a Seattle player as well. So hard for a team to defend. So hard for a goalkeeper to deal with a ball like that.
I listened to Alan Chapman, the referee, his presentation of the Sounders about VAR. Another foul, easy call for Alan Kelly, was if 95 to 98% of neutrals would say, yeah, you got to look at that. That's the overall theory is, oh, hang on a second.
Let's look at
Still, the referee's king of all this. If he doesn't want to look at something, he won't, but all these referees want to get things right. Jovan Jones trying to get around Asprilla. It doesn't. Valeri lets Asprilla go for a run.
Woo.
Tries to nutmeg Jovan Jones. He's right there. Good little battle right below us. Asprilla to Adi. He's got Maddox to his left. Vitas is overlapping there. He'll use Maddox. A little too far. Strong leg by Adi. And out of bounds. Unfortunate for Portland as they had numbers on the left-hand side with Vitas overlapping. And we can take a look here.
He'll count that as a nutmeg. He got it back. Maybe not right away, but
Was that a woo-hoo out of you? Did you kind of give it a...
If there's a nutmeg out there, that will elicit that reaction from me.
All right. This is the first we've ever worked together, so I just want to know what to expect.
In the preseason.
Yeah.
March.
The next
our
ESPN
first match
crew right here.
On Root Sports, March 18th against Houston. Might not be hearing that from me.
Svensson. Big, strong center back, and Svensson in the holding midfield spot here. He can hold there or add depth in the back line. Jovan Jones looking for Harry Shipp again. Will Bruin slips. He's got to change those cleats before he gets on this pitch again. He's slipped a couple times. Vitas out wide to Maddox with the rainbow shoes. Right into the foot of the Sounders, out of bounds for a throw-in. And another good sign that it's entertaining, and it's already the 41st. Things are flying by. It's not dragging around.
This has been a great game. I mean, for the first week of February, it's been open. I think the Timbers especially have been sharp in the attack, but the Sounders have had their moments coming forward as well, and that's what you like to see. What a difference a week makes from a Timbers perspective. I mean, so much more flow to this match. Timbers are so much more connected than they were last Friday against New York.
And it snowed in Seattle yesterday, so the Sounders are happy to be in this 75-degree weather as Alan Kelly will bring that back for a foul on Ladero. And he's explaining it to him as Clark is down, so no throw in for the Sounders deep in Timbers area. And Chara starts it up by finding Valeri. Vitas on the left-hand side. Maddox comes inside looking for Adi. Alfaro right there. Adi first to it, but the foul knocks down Roldan. Out extends an arm as Adi. Roldan looking for Will Bruin. Can he get around Clark? He can get around Clark. Will Bruin all alone. Oh, nice bit of goaltending by Jake Gleason. He had the whole opposite side. I thought he would go far post. Instead, he went near post. And Gleason gets a piece of it out for a corner kick.
Big time save from Jake Gleason. That's what he can do. He's a shot stopper. We saw it at the end of last year. So good for the Timbers. Made himself big. Big save from Jake Gleason, continuing where he left off in 2016.
That trailing foot stopped at Svensson. Knocked away by Guzman. Well, the trailing foot saved it for Gleason. From our angle, I just thought as I'm seeing it, he was going to go far post. But if not, a little shot from Svensson that Gleason has no problem with. Surprised by Bruin's speed there too. I haven't obviously seen Clark, but
that's a teaching moment for Renico Clark. Obviously, I mean he can't let Will Bruin get to that ball first and get goal side, of course. And Renico Clark's a fast guy. He can run. Maybe he wasn't expecting Will Bruin to be as fast as he was, but Bruin's also got some size on Renico Clark. Clark's still just 21, probably has some filling out to do. 6'4", but just 195. And I'm sure Renico Clark will look back on that and wish he had done better.
Shipp knocked down by Chara. Frustrated with the knockdown. Ladero will get things started. He's got Svensson right there with him. Valeri over the ball, stopping a quick restart. We will leave you at halftime. We'll be back right at the start of the second half. Lots of changes. We'll have those for you. Alvaro Fernandez cuts it inside to Ladero. Ladero pops it in, but unfortunately out of bounds. Miss hit. Doesn't happen very often, so take a good look at that one by Nicholas Ladero. Goal kick for Gleason in the 45th. We probably won't have any stoppage time here at the end of the first half. But again, Portland with a few more chances. Adi taking advantage in the 17th minute from a set piece from Valeri. A scooting dive. I can't give it a diving.
You're not going to call it diving? I'm going to go full diving. I'm not full diving header, but I will call it a diving.
Well, you're going to call it a bicycle
I'll call it a
kick
diving.
or something.
No. I'll give him the credit for diving. You know, went down low.
Nice goal. It was a nice goal.
Well done. Certainly, Timbers will be happy about that. They'll be really happy about the first half. I think there's no doubt Caleb Porter is going to be pleased with the way his team played in the first 45 minutes.
Ship rolled on. Ladero, big drive. A little wide. Ladero asking Kelly for a glance off Guzman for a corner kick. 1 minute of stoppage time, we're being told. There goes that theory.
Last 5 minutes here maybe for the Timbers, you know, giving more opportunities up. Of course, Will Bruin going in one-on-one with Jake Gleason isn't going to be something that the Timbers want to see. But, again, I think Caleb Porter at halftime and after this match, he's going to be thrilled with the way his starting 11 performed in this first half, especially in the attack, the chances they created, the possession and the opportunities and the pressure that they put on Seattle. Of course, getting the goal is big. Maybe could have had more than a goal. And I think on March 3rd, if they get into the same spot situations that they did today, when they have a little more crispness in their attack, then these type of opportunities would give them more goals than just one. But certainly, I think he's going to be really pleased with this first half.
We'll go to halftime here, 1-0, just seconds left of the 1 minute. Out wide to Adi. Maddox has changed positions into the middle of the park. Valeri. He's got Guzman right open. He'll use him. Taken on by Svensson. Guzman with a drive. Tyler Miller sure-handed, and that will be the last moment as Alan Kelly blows the halftime whistle. Tyler Miller just drops him the ball. Coaches head towards each other teams. And as the squad see that their time is over, they're shaking hands in the middle of the park. Let's take a look at the first half highlights here. Jake, the diving header starts us off.
It's a dive.
With
It's a
Fernando
diving header. Come
Adi.
on. That's a diving header. You got to give him the dive.
Sure.
I'm going diving.
Another ball coming backside. Clint Dempsey with the scissoring volley. Not enough power, but Jake Gleason right in the middle of his post there.
Jake Gleason made 3 nice saves in this half. That one, didn't have to do much. This, of course, the moment of the half as far as Seattle's concerned, and Gleason making himself big, the trailing leg. Will Bruin, I think you said you thought Will Bruin was going to go to the far post. I think Jake Gleason did as well, but kept that trailing leg out just enough to send it wide. And he did his job the 3 times he was called upon in the first half. And the Timbers going to be thrilled with a 1-0 halftime.
And you know that Caleb Porter was talking about that exact moment with Clark, asking Clark why he let Will Bruin go to the backside. We'll let you go. We'll let you go get a popcorn. Jake and I will do the same thing. 1-0 Portland over Seattle at halftime. We'll be right back.
Be sure to cheer the kids on with some super soccer action.
Chris, did I get that we got 8 minutes? Why? What's up? I was just gonna grab my water. No, I was just gonna go right here and grab it. I just want to make sure I wasn't gonna.
All right, let's hear it for our contestants. Now it's time for the Audubon halftime place sit competition. The contestants will place a helmet in the goal and attempt a blind place sit. If they make it into the goal, they win a family 4-pack. If they hit their helmet, they are automatically entered into the place sit competition to be held during the regular season halftime at a date you will be notified on by Audubon. You have choices when researching and selecting your healthcare services. Look for CARF accreditation when comparing providers. CARF accreditation is earned by providers that show commitment to service quality and a focus on the satisfaction of the people they serve. To find CARF accredited providers, visit us online at carf.org. Fans, get ready to catch some CARF International mini balls. You have choices when researching and selecting your healthcare services. Look for CARF accreditation when comparing providers. CARF accreditation is earned by providers that show commitment to service quality and a focus on the satisfaction of the people they serve. To find CARF accredited producers, visit us online at carf.org. As an official sponsor of MLS preseason, Chapman Automotive invites you to visit all of their outstanding...
Welcome back to Tucson, Arizona, the Keno Sports Complex. The Portland Timbers and Seattle Sounders in the Desert Friendlies. The Timbers with a 1-0 lead after halftime. I'm Jake Zibin, play-by-play for the Portland Timbers. Matt Johnson, play-by-play for the Seattle Sounders. On this split broadcast down here in the desert, we'll be switching roles for this second half, and Matt, it was certainly a first half that was open, was I think entertaining, maybe more so than you'd expect at this stage in the preseason.
You know, to talk to your point, Portland had a lot of the chances, but at halftime, just watching Brian Schmetzer talk to his young guys, especially the back four, you nailed it, where Jovan Jones was really the only regular back there. So he had him gathered up, and he was talking to Tony Alfaro, pointing to his eyes as if saying, hey, let's take a look at this. When this happens, take a look. So it's all this experience against the guys in the big side. So let's take a look. There are going to be some major changes, and we'll head with the Seattle Sounders here. Tyler Miller remains in goal and going from the bottom up, so we'll go through the back four: Lorenzo Ramos, Brian Nanasinkum, Jake Stovall, and Nuhu Tolo. Harry Shipp will remain in the match with Henry Ringo and Hopau, Zach Mathers, Shea Adekoya, and the Sounders. And we're going to see a lot of young faces here, Jake, and a lot of guys looking to impress the coaching staff. Here is Portland.
Yeah, very different look from both these teams in the second half. Harry Shipp, Tyler Miller staying on for Seattle. For Portland, completely new 11. And it's going to be a 4-4-2. Jeff Adinella in goal. Jameer Ordain, a trialist at right back. Amobi Akugo, Lawrence Olam in the middle. Zarek Valentin at left back. In the center of the midfield, it'll be Ben Zemansky and Andre Lewis. Victor Arboleda will be on the left wing. Freddie Adu, a trialist, on the right wing. Ryan Johnson, a trialist up top with Jack McInerney. So maybe a final chance for the three trialists, Jameer Ordain, Freddie Adu, and Ryan Johnson, to impress down here in Tucson as the team flies back to Portland tomorrow. And direct for Johnson right away. A back heel to McInerney. Heavy touch. It's dealt with by Seattle. Still not out of danger yet, but a foul called against Portland.
Harry Shipp gets knocked down. And yes, Jake and I will have our hands full. It's going to be a cool little challenge with no numbers on quite a few of these guys, but we've done some homework, not to pat ourselves in the back. It's not a big party in Tucson for us.
You've got trialists, you've got USL players on both sides in there. This is
the very famous invitees.
That's right. Brian Nanasinkum, the first-round pick for Seattle, starting at center back. This is Lorenzo Ramos. He's a Seattle Sounders 2 player, taken off the ball by Victor Arboleda. Recently signed to the first team in the offseason for the Timbers. Victor Arboleda was a member of T2, Portland's USL side last year. Still just 20 years old, a Colombian, full of pace and potential, playing on the left wing in this second half. This is Arboleda. Header won by Ramos. Jake Stovall getting it across midfield for Seattle. Jameer Ordain, Costa Rican right back. Now Ben Zemanski. Here comes Seattle. Ship in the midfield. Out wide, trying to spring Ramos. Too far, and it'll be a throw for Portland.
It'll be interesting to see someone like a veteran, even though he's only 25, Harry Ship, if he can take control. Same thing with Portland. If there's veterans on the field compared to these youngsters just drafted, a number of these guys just drafted or signed to their first contract in pro soccer, and they're excited to be here.
Ryan Johnson, he's certainly a veteran. Many years in MLS, including 2013 with the Timbers. Freddie Adu, everybody knows that name. Forward to Johnson, now Arboleda. Into Johnson. Almost a chance created by Johnson and Arboleda. Dealt with well by Seattle, and it's out for a Sounders throw.
Be interested to see the styles. Obviously, the number ones from Portland had some success in the first half. Seattle kind of came and grabbed the game middle of the first half, but Portland very successful. Wonder if this is going to be a smooth feeling, a start-stop kind of,
You'd expect it for both sides to be a little more disjointed, right? I mean, these 11s, these groups haven't played together nearly as much. You had, with the Timbers at least, almost a starting 11, a group of guys that have played a lot of games together, and it looked like it. Now, this is kind of a hodgepodge on both sides, as we mentioned, of trialists, of USL guys, almost a giveaway, and it is a giveaway. Lewis to McInerney. Arboleda may be a chance. Now it's McInerney. Still not clear for Seattle. They're able to deal with it eventually.
Nana Sinkum will learn right away, get rid of that ball. The speed of the game is quicker than it was what he's used to, and you can't knock the ball around trying to get around 2-3 Timbers. Timbers took advantage of that right there.
Ben Zemanski back for another year in Portland, his 5th season with the club. Now Zarek Valentin. Andre Lewis here with T2, member of T2 last year. He loses it. Irvin Parra takes it away. Too much from Parra, out for a throw. Parra signed to Sounders 2.
Came from Kaiserslautern.
Kind of a roundabout journey back to American professional soccer for Irvin Parra.
That's a great way of saying it.
Southern California. Victor Arboleda thought about going 1-on-6, instead finds Freddie Adu wide on the right. Adu, Ordain overlapping, can't get to it, and then does get to it before being called for a foul.
Nice play by Nana Sinkum, holding his ground. Cool little back foot, back heel by Freddie Adu, but Nana Sinkum playing solid defense there. We might get used to the looser balls we were just talking about a moment ago, as Henry Wingo collects.
More opportunity, more flexibility, and more personal service. Stop by a branch or visit VantageWest.org to learn why you deserve more.
Sounders finally get away from the pressure, forward to Parra, trying to leave it for Adekoya. Handled easily by Zarek Valentin. For the Sounders out there in this half, if you're a Sounders supporter, you got to be excited to see some of the youth. Shea Adekoya, a homegrown signing. Shandon Hopau, a 18-year-old academy player, youth national team player. A chance to see the future for Seattle.
Brian Schmetzer told me last night he's not afraid to use these guys because he's new to a lot of them also, and if they can make a point and make an impact, then he'll keep them. He wasn't afraid at all to bring a bunch of youngsters down, get them out of the rain, the cold, bring them down here to Tucson and see what they could show against the veterans.
Nuhu Tolo, he's 19 years old, signed from Sounders 2 in the offseason from Cameroon. He's the left back in this half for Seattle. taking the throw now. Another one of those young and experienced players, part of a youth movement we're seeing here in this match.
As the Timbers know, MLS, you obviously are going to have some big signings. Both clubs have them, but the academy and bringing up the youth is what is the backbone for really solid MLS clubs.
Jake Stovall, third-round draft pick, sending it forward. Ben Zemansky winning a header. Nobody there for the Timbers. Portland a 1-0 lead thanks to a 17th minute Fernando Adi goal, the only goal of the first half. First half played between what is close to a first-choice starting 11 for the Timbers, at least with players available. And similar for the Sounders, though, 6, I think you could say, potential Seattle Sounders not available for this match tonight, more than maybe the 3 or 4 unavailable for the Timbers. It's the third preseason match for Portland, 2017, the first for Seattle.
Good bit of possession here for the Sounders. A little knock in the back on Para. Sounders enjoyed some of their best possession in the second half.
Here's a look at how we got to this point. This is the 17th minute. Fernando Adi off the set piece, going down low to redirect Diego Valeri's free kick past Tyler Miller.
Schmetzer was having a conversation with Oduro at halftime. Another learning spot because Maddox has got the speed, and really that was the foul that set up the goal.
Yeah, it was a yellow card foul. Dominic Oduro taking out Darren Maddox, who had gotten behind and past Dominic Oduro on the byline. Set up that free kick. Second goal of the preseason for Fernando Adi. Also scored a penalty kick against NK Istra on Tuesday. First assist for Diego Valeri. Timbers still yet to score from the run of play. They've scored a penalty kick and they've scored on 2 set pieces. Down here in Tucson, their third of 3 matches in the desert in the preseason. Harry Shipp out wide to Hopau. Poked away. Freddie Adu back to handle for the Timbers. Sent forward into space for Ryan Johnson, but it's out into touch.
Sounders had a good opportunity there, a lot of numbers. Harry Shipp spraying the ball out wide. A couple one-on-ones. Didn't work for Seattle, but nice opportunities and some possession for the Sounders. Hopau out the left-hand side.
Well done to bring it down. Shandon Hopau, 18 years old, Sounders Academy member. Leaves it for Irvin Para. Back to Hopau. He was offside. The flag was up. Sent his shot wide anyway.
Very close. Flag goes up. First offside call against Seattle in the match.
Shandon Hopau, he's Hawaiian. Part of the Sounders' homegrown territory, Hawaii is. There's some talents on the islands that the Sounders have brought into their academy.
Made a couple starts with S2 last year. Didn't register a goal or an assist, so the Sounders obviously know of him. Out here with a great opportunity, brought down again by Brian Schmetzer, so see what he can do.
It must be such a cool experience for a guy like that.
Can you imagine? For any of these guys across either clubs, you know, you're 18. Brian was talking about a couple 17-year-olds, and there's always excitement. There's a 16-year-old at the academy, and he didn't come down, but you know, both clubs have him, but you got to think that head coaches are licking their lips at the youth.
Freddie Adu has a little bit of space on the right, now cuts inside. Andre Lewis in the middle. Slides through for Arboleda. He's onside but couldn't get to it. And it's out for a goal kick, harmless in the end.
Nice build up by Portland. Freddie Adu, you know, I mean, we remember when he was signed. You know, you almost think he's 35 years old because he's been playing for so long.
He's still only 27. He's going to create headlines whenever he pops up for whatever team he's on. Caleb Porter said pretty explicitly about Freddie Adu's time here that it's called a trial for a reason. You know, Freddie Adu and Caleb Porter go back to Caleb's time with the U.S. under-23s. Freddie Adu was basically the best player, the star player on that team. And Caleb Porter said that Freddie has been asking for a trial for a little bit of time, and they brought him in to see where he's at. Again, stressing it's called a trial for a reason. This now his second appearance in the preseason for the Timbers. He's been training with the team for a little bit over a week now. And his most extensive chance in a real game tonight. Played 30 minutes against the New York Red Bulls on Friday. Didn't really do much. Didn't see much of the ball.
Henry
Chance to play the
Wingo showing
entire
his speed.
second half now. Yeah, it's Wingo springing Shea Adekoya through. Adekoya sent into the box. Amobi Akugo heads it clear. Here's Wingo again. Arboleda pressuring with his speed. Now Harry Shipp. A little bit of a deep line role for Harry Shipp in this second half, essentially playing the number 6 for Seattle. Here's Hope out, one-on-one with Ordain. Back to Shipp. Sent in for Para. Adanella off his line. The flag was up. Para flagged for offside.
Harry Shipp, obviously, he looks like the veteran part. Everything kind of stays calm around him when he receives the ball in the middle of the park. Spraying the ball around, finding guys, making guys move.
Versatile, obviously. We saw him in the first half, essentially at the number 10 role, coming in for Clint Dempsey. We know he can play on the wing.
Brian has dropped him back here for the second half. Traded from Montreal. Seattle had to give up general allocation money to the Impact for the services of Shipp.
He was so good as a rookie for the Fire. And in his second season again in Chicago, it was really a shock, I think, league-wide when they traded him to Montreal.
I talked to him last year. Yeah,
hometown guy.
Absolutely.
I don't think he wanted to leave.
No, he was shocked isn't even the word. He was in tears. He told me last week he can't believe, in hindsight, you know, this is his third team in 3 years. Didn't see that coming, but it's also, as a 25-year-old, has taught him so much about the business. It is what it is.
It's a rude awakening.
But never really settled in Montreal, and he and his fiancée already have a place in Seattle, so they're happy as can be.
Andre Lewis on the ball for the Timbers, member of Portland Timbers 2, former first-round draft pick for the Vancouver Whitecaps, played on T2, the Timbers USL affiliate last season. Been in camp with the first team this year. There were 8 T2 players here at the beginning of the Tucson preseason. About half of those guys sent back to Portland midway through, always part of the plan. Wasn't tryouts or anything like that. Andre Lewis, one of the guys who stayed, getting a half here at the defensive midfield spot.
Ramos, I believe, with the foul in the back.
And Jack McInerney drawing the foul. A little bit far out maybe for an attempt on goal here, but Freddie Adu will stand over it for the Timbers.
He'll pop it far post. Come on.
Maybe trying to.
Is he right at Tyler Miller?
I think it's a little far away. You'd expect him to serve it into the box. But he's got a great left foot. We all know that. Everybody who's followed his career knows what he can do. Here is Adu. Chipped into the area. It was a dangerous ball, and it's a great save from Tyler Miller, keeping it a 1-goal game.
Nice save, maybe even better ball by Adu. Boy, floats that back post. Nicely done. Tyler Miller, again, from our angle, looked like it was going to go over the post, over the crossbar, but nice save by Miller getting the far post.
It was Jack McInerney with the header. A little bit of a scramble in the box off the ensuing corner kick. Adu's second cross is blocked. Still in play for Freddie Adu. Trying to get around the Seattle defender, unable to, and has to resort to a foul.
Adekoya coming back, playing some defense.
Now Seattle will try to break. Shandon Hope out. Harry Shipp. And a foul called behind the play. It was Victor Arboleda that went down. Alan Kelly blew his whistle late. I don't know if he saw it or if he received some help from an assistant referee, but that's why the Seattle attack was stopped short.
That's well refereed. That's why he's been the referee of the year a couple times. He was a referee of the year in his native Ireland, I believe. He had the MLS Cup final. He's done an NASL final. I do have kind of a crush on him. I do, honestly. He's the nicest guy. I met him in Toronto in December, and the players say he all just talks very calm and lets them know exactly what he's talking about, and that's all you want, consistency from a referee. Offside on Portland, but
we mentioned it in the first half. You might have to use the assistance of a VAR, a video assistant referee in today's match. MLS trialing it. Trialing it's probably the wrong word. They're practicing with that system in the preseason here in Tucson. The goal is to implement it league-wide after the All-Star game. VAR, video assistant refereeing, will be used for 4 major situations in a match: for goals, for penalty kicks, for red cards, and for mistaken identities on yellow or red cards. The goal simply is just to get it right, to get the call correct. There is a video assistant referee that is watching this match from every single angle, has access to all the angles, the same ones that we do in our production truck, and will be assisting Alan Kelly, the referee, if he needs the help. Here's Harry Shipp for Seattle. Now Wingo. Closed down by Andre Lewis. Does well to win it for the Timbers. Freddie Adu draws a foul.
the only part, we talked about it in the first half. I think the incentive to get any call correct is a good one, right? I mean,
absolutely,
it still is, and the referee still owns the rule. I mean, he's the man in charge. He's the czar, as we see Wingo being hassled, and nice bit of defense by Portland. The timing of it in coming August 2nd, I'll let you take this rush here.
Arboleda coming forward now. Ben Zemansky out wide to Jameer Ordain. Ben Zemansky again. Sent in looking for Johnson. Headed clear. It was Brian Nana-Sinkum. Shipp trying to spring Para at Akoya. Back to Harry Shipp. Now Henry Wingo. Out wide to Nuhu Tolo.
I'm very impressed. Very impressed.
With the possession from the Seattle Sounders?
No. By you with guys with no numbers on the back.
Calling games down at the USL level helps you out, I see a lot of these guys. Nuhu Tolo, Lorenzo Ramos for S2 last year. Zach Mathers.
I would like the VAR to be something happen where we need to see Alan Kelly move in on that. I'd love to see that happen here.
As you mentioned earlier, happened yesterday in the Real Salt Lake San Jose match. There was a penalty kick called. Referee went to the VAR, talked to the head referee. They decided that want to take another look at it, ran to the side of the pitch, looked at the monitor for about 30 seconds. That's all it took. Came back on and said, yep, the penalty kick was the right call. They took the penalty kick. It was actually Chad Barrett, former Seattle Sounder and Portland native, so a connection to both of these clubs playing today. He ended up skying the PK, so maybe iced a little bit by the minute or so delay, but it really didn't take that long. Certainly no longer than you would see if there was a sort of scrum around the referee over a controversial PK call. And ultimately, they got the call right. And so as we have mentioned, that's the goal of it, and I think that's why it's going to be implemented successfully this season. It's not just in MLS. 14 different competitions worldwide are essentially testing out the process in 2017 and 2018. Then all the data will be gathered by the rule makers in professional soccer.
The Dutch league's already using it.
Right.
They're
exactly.
the leader. They're the absolute leader in the world.
It's the IAFB, which is essentially FIFA's rules arm. They make the rules. They decide the rules of the game for FIFA. And they're going to decide after 2018 whether to implement this worldwide as part of the laws of the game officially, maybe to make some tweaks and test again, or maybe to scrap it all together.
But after August 2nd, All-Star game in Chicago, it is here. Jake just explained it's here all the way through 18. And I think they've learned, talked to a couple guys, and talked to Alan Chapman yesterday, and they'll be kinks, but they've also learned from Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball has grown with it.
Basketball, I mean, the NFL, NHL, we're used, in North America at least, we're used to seeing video replay in sports. Certainly there's a lot of soccer fans that I think enjoy the fact that there aren't replays in soccer because it is so free-flowing. The game is always going on. It's 2 hours, well, 90 minutes of action, but a 2-hour window of mostly gameplay. McInerney tries to spring Arboleda, who is offside. Whereas, of course, in basketball and football and baseball, hockey, you can have some delays. Hockey less so than the other three.
Hockey's very quick.
Very quick.
And I think that's where the soccer, the genesis of the whole deal, and boom, boom, like you said, 30 seconds, and they got it right. Every sports fan doesn't want to go home shaking their head. When you're doing the play-by-play, you still get texts from your buddy in the stands that say, was it really? Did it go over the line? Was it offside? Was it,
We
and
see
get it.
replays that the refs can't see in real time. The famous example of last year, I believe it was Dallas, Kansas City, where the ball clearly crossed the goal line, and the refs weren't in position to see it. It wasn't their fault. No human being outside of maybe Usain Bolt could have made it there in time to get in position to see whether or not it crossed the line. But with a simple, VAR, it would have been overturned and the goal would have been correctly scored. I believe it was for Dallas in that match. Should have had the goal early on. The goal would have been correctly called in 20 seconds. It would have taken no time. And ultimately that's important, is to get it right.
And these setups are around the park. They're not just in one or two like the NFL. So they're all around the pitch as the Sounders look to take their 6th corner of the evening.
Harry Shipp to take for Seattle. They bring numbers forward. Floated into the box, headed away by Ben Szymanski. Looked like a handball, and it is a handball. Victor Arboleda, the culprit.
Zach Mathers looking for a few more yards than Alan Kelly will let him take. Freddie Adu right there to stop. Alan Kelly gonna walk off 10. And the young man from Duke over the ball for this set piece.
Mathers finds Shipp out wide. Mathers making a run to the back post. Shipp tries to find him, put it on goal instead. There was room for Mathers on the back post. It was easy for Jeff Adinella in the end. Loose touch from Freddie Adu, and he fouled Brian Nanasinkum. Another set piece coming for Seattle.
Nice hustle by Nanasinkum to come up and find that ball. A little bit loose of a pass.
Para is onside and goes down to the box, and it will be a penalty kick. Irvin Para drawing the PK in the 70th minute.
Nice play by Para to get goal side of his defender. I'd like to see a replay of this. We will hear. Nice ball by Mathers. And if the outside back kept him on, he was onside.
He looked to be
I'll say it so you don't sound.
possibly offside.
I'll say it from the Seattle side. He looked to be offside.
We didn't have a view of the entire field when the pass was made, so difficult to tell. And Alan Kelly has made that sign of a television, it appears. That's the sign for the VAR. You saw him make it with his hands, but apparently he has received consultation that indeed it is a penalty kick. Harry Shipp against Jeff Adinella. Adinella guessed correctly, but Shipp chips it over the Timbers keeper, and he levels the match in the 71st minute.
Harry Shipp has made a difference here in the second half, showing his veteran side of things on these two sides, very full of youth. And that PK there, very calmly taken to the left, Antonella's right. Guessed correctly, might have even got his left paw up there, but goes in the back of the net for a 1-1 tie here in the 71st.
Well, first goal for Harry Shipp in a Sounders kit, of course, coming in the preseason. I'm sure he and the Sounders faithful will be happy to see that.
I watched Zach Mathers a couple times last year. I really like him. Ziggy Schmid was really cool to say. I had to have a talk with him and say, hey, I want this so bad for you. Do you want it as bad for you as I want it bad for you? and he went back to work, and that was a nice ball to Parra there, to spring Parra. Questionable offside call on if the right back had held him on or not. Flag stayed down, Ship converts the PK.
He's listed, Mathers is on the Sounders roster, as Mathers sliding in and knocking it away from Amobi Akugo. That was clean. As a preseason guest player, essentially. He was signed to Sounders 2 last year, is not yet signed to Sounders 2 for this upcoming years. Is he fighting for a role on the first team? What's the situation?
Well,
there's a few guys like that are here in camp, S2 guys last year, but not officially S2 guys this year.
And here's his platform. He's out of contract with S2. The contract was a 1-year deal, his first year out of, I believe, Duke University. And he's on the fringe. He continues to, he might be more of a project guy because he continues to get more and more fit. Last year he just had a little more weight on him, and he's lost it. And he's more active here. He's very active now. Obviously, he's only been on the pitch 20 minutes. But absolutely, this is his time to show the coaching staff that, yeah, not only am I an S2 guy, but I'm that fringe guy. I don't know about making the 18 for the Sounders first team, but obviously signing a first-year contract in the next couple of years.
Another corner kick for Seattle. Harry Ship scored a penalty kick a couple minutes ago. Lofts it again high into the box. Easily headed clear by Arboleda. Nana Stinkum sending it back into the area. Adanella, strong punch to get it clear. Not out of danger yet. Here is Mathers. Out wide looking for Adekoya. Valentin got there first, sends it out for a throw.
I'm impressed with Irvin Parra so far this half. He's made a couple nice plays, very aggressive in the air. With S2 signed in July, we talked about it coming from Kaiserslautern 2. But he's been pretty active, and he
essentially reading about him before this match, he's kind of bounced around the lower leagues of Germany out of high school, decided to go that route instead of the college soccer route. 4 or 5 years later, came back to play in the United States. He's from Southern California.
He's still only 23. He's still a kid.
And he has 5 years of professional experience. We've talked to Caleb Porter a lot about that, the difference between signing a 19-year-old at T2 and letting him develop for a few years at T2 and then promoting him to the first team. And then you've got a 21, 22-year-old with 2 or 3 years of professional experience. The players coming out of college are the same age, but they don't have that professional experience. So Irvin Parra is 23. Guys that the Sounders pick in the draft, Jake Stovall, he's at center back right now, 3rd-round pick. He's 22 years old. Brian Nanasinkum, he's 22 years old. Those guys haven't played a professional match in their career. Irvin Parra has been a professional for 5 years. There's a big difference there, even though there's only a year difference in age. And the same philosophy goes for getting young guys on the USL teams. I know the Sounders feel similarly to the Timbers about that. Victor Arboleda, a prime example of that. Just 20 years old, now signed as a 19-year-old into space for Freddie Adu. Runs it down at the byline, was unable. He was able to keep it in play, but unable to do anything with it. And it's a giveaway now from Seattle. Johnson. Valentin. Into the feet of Andre Lewis. Outside Jack McInerney. Sent into the box, headed clear by Stovall.
That's too bad, too far for Adu on the right flank, and the Sounders give the ball right back, having a counterattack opportunity go away.
Freddie Adu again on the ball, driven in. Again, it's Stovall with the header.
Sure-footed Harry Ship.
Tolo pressured. Ship. Seattle has controlled possession for the majority of this second half, especially of late. Nuhu Tolo, the right back stepping forward, heavy touch. Szymanski couldn't get to it, it's still Tolo. Hopau wasn't making the run. Bourdain and Hopau collide. Hopau comes away with it. And floated into the box for nobody.
Big collision on the far side. The ball just falls to Hopau. A couple heavy touches the Sounders got away with there. Hopau showing his speed, and Nuhu Tolo is just a speedster down the left-hand side. Seemed like a bulldozer. I was waiting to see him run into somebody, but he definitely got around a couple Timber players. Too far. The ball from Hope out on the far side. Antonella with the goal kick. Stovall's been another in the back for the Sounders that's been impressive. Been very calm on the ball, winning things in the air, physical when he needs to.
Third round pick, Jake Stovall, Wright State. Big opportunity for a third round pick. And third round picks obviously have an uphill battle to make a first team, to be signed to a first team roster.
This is exactly what Brian Schmetzer doesn't want to see as a regular or someone who's going to be on his 18, and Harry Shipp goes down. And Alan Kelly already asking for a substitution. Harry Shipp grabbing his left ankle.
And we said it earlier, the goal is to get out of here healthy. Harry Shipp, the goal scorer for Seattle in the 71st minute, a penalty kick. Fernando Ani scored in the 17th minute in the first half. Assisted by Diego Valeri. We are at 1-1. Now in the 78th. Timbers are making a couple substitutions as Andre Lewis and Ryan Johnson have come out of the match. Augustine Williams and Lamar Batista have come on, both players here with T2. There's Lamar Batista, 6'5", a center back. So we'll assume with this substitution that Lawrence Olam will move into the defensive midfield where Andre Lewis was playing. Batista will move to center back. And then Augustine Williams a straight swap up top with Ryan Johnson.
Here's another youngster for the Sounders, only 17 years old. Jake Morris, currently with the academy.
No relation to Jordan Morris.
No?
No. I looked that up because I thought, oh, it's Jordan Morris's brother on the roster. With
Can you
Seattle.
imagine?
It is not Jordan Morris's brother. Jake Morris from Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
That's right.
But in residency at the Sounders Academy.
Harry Shipp with a, I don't know, sarcastic smile on his face coming off.
Good sight for Sounders supporters, though, that he's walking off in his own power.
Absolutely. In the 79th again. Brian Schmetzer, Caleb Porter. Number one is health as the Timbers head back home to Portland tomorrow. The Sounders stay down here for a few more days, come back home Wednesday. And the preseason's all about staying healthy, getting fit, finding rhythm.
So Jake Morris comes on and moves to center back. Lorenzo Ramos has moved into the defensive midfield as Brian Nanasinkum has shifted over to right back for Seattle. Augustine Williams getting on the ball for the first time. The 19-year-old was offside. The flag is up. An interesting prospect, Augustine Williams, signed by T2 mid-season last year from San Diego, played for the Nomads, SC, an academy team essentially that's not tied to any MLS squad. He made it to the semifinals of the USSDA championship, essentially the Club Academy National Championship.
Has some pure natural speed, does he
And
not?
he's fast, he
Wow.
can finish. Decided to sign with T2 instead of going the college route, and I think a promising young prospect in the organization. Just 19 years old, does well to turn around. Stovall, but Nanasinkum recovers for Seattle.
Sounders showed their inexperience there as two of the Sounders looked at each other. I believe that was Wingo and Nanasinkum. They both looked at each other thinking each of them was going to get the ball. Portland scooped up. Seattle came back and got the possession. But youngsters who haven't played with each other, this is what's going to happen.
Here's Lamar Batista on the ball. The move, as I mentioned, of Batista to center back pushes Olam into the center midfield. It actually appears like Akugo has gone into the center midfield. Olam staying at center back. So both Amobi Akugo and Lawrence Olam, guys who can play at the number 6 role and play at the center back role. They're both very versatile, giving Caleb Porter a lot of options. And it is Akugo alongside Zemansky, it looks like, in the defensive midfield, with Olam and Batista, the center backs for the Timbers. Nanasinkum is forward. Gets his cross off. Adu headed it clear. Adu and Arboleda have switched sides as well. McInerney springs Williams through. Great ball from McInerney. Williams is onside. He goes down. No call from Alan Kelly. The traveling Timber supporters don't like it. Caleb Porter, arms wide. Not happy with the call as Williams, attempting to get a shot off, missed the ball completely, went down.
Well, if the ball is stopped, won't they look at that? They possibly looked at. I thought it was a clear PK. To be honest with you, Jake.
With the VAR rules, it's possible, I believe, for them to look at it, but they have to. Once the ball is put back into play, they're unable to. Hard to tell how much contact was there. We'll explain the VAR process in a moment as the Timbers continue to try to attack. Here's Victor Arboleda. He's moved out to the right side, switch sides with Freddie Adu. Won by Seattle. So the way it works is if the ball's sent out of play after a no call, Alan Kelly, the referee, can delay the restart to take a look at the replay. Once the ball is put back into play, they can't review what happened before the restart anymore. Seattle coming forward, big block from Lamar Batista, falls to Parra, and he put it wide. He was offside, wouldn't have counted. So Alan Kelly could have chosen to delay the restart. I believe the ball was sent out for a throw, which the Timbers took quickly. Parra clearly offside.
Poacher. Yeah, and the quick restart erases everything. So there goes the question of having it be reviewed. Maybe their legs got tangled, but the Portland attacker didn't go down by himself, I didn't believe. I just thought Seattle got a piece of him.
To essentially upgrade from a non-PK call to a PK, it's got to be essentially a kind of 100% a sure thing. Same thing with a red card. If there's a yellow card that should have been a red card, it's got to be 100%. It can't be kind of 50-50 from the way I understand it. You know, some people think, yes, it's a penalty. Some people think it's not. Some people think it's a red. Some people think it's not. You could upgrade something to a red card if, say, the referee didn't see a punch off the ball, just didn't see it. His view was blocked. That could be reviewed and given a red card, but it's got to be clear. Arboleda trying to get to the byline. There aren't challenge flags as well, unlike the NFL or Major League Baseball. Caleb Porter is unable to challenge a play like that, to force a review. That's not something that is part of this
You are
policy.
full of information tonight.
This is something that people are going to be educated, are going to have to be educated on. It's new. It's coming. I mean, it's not that far away, right? 6 months.
Exactly.
After the All-Star break, it's going to happen in real MLS matches. So
There'll be plenty of questions in August. Yeah,
there certainly will.
But to your point, just like, boy, I used the words. I thought it was a PK. Alan Kelly's right there next to it. He said, nah. And it wasn't worth the challenge. Great tackle.
They encourage the referees to be strong with their decision. Mm-hmm. If Alan Kelly, he could have gotten word from his video assistant referee, hey, you might want to take a look at that. But Alan Kelly can say, I don't need to. I saw it. I was clear in my decision. I had a good look at it, and it wasn't a penalty kick. And then they don't stop the game, and that's encouraged. They don't want to stop the game.
That's right. And for those in fear of the flow being hassled with, it's only going to happen maybe 2 times a match. You know, once it gets going, it's going to be 2 times, maybe 3 times a match. And, you know, folks, the referees do a heck of a job whether you want to think they do or not. I mean, they do. They get it right on. Oh, boy, that silence you just gave me.
No. It's such a difficult. I thought you were going to continue your point. It's such a difficult job. I mean, in any sport, and obviously referees get it wrong, and a lot of fans would maybe think they should get it right more than they do, but it's hard to see everything in real time with the naked eye and get it correct every time, and that's why in every major North American sport, the referees have the assistance of video replay, and it's coming to soccer certainly later than the other sports, as ambitious efforts from Tolo from about 45 is over the net. But that's the point. It's to get it right. And, you can't – the human eye the naked eye can only do so much. And with the assistance of video replay, they can get it right. We sound like a broken record in this match,
Well,
but I think everybody would agree if they can get it right with a minimal intrusion into the flow of the match. Then I'm going to
sound like my dad, but they're getting faster and faster and faster, and things just happen, and the ARs do a heck of a job. But yeah, there's things still that the Sounders wanted a goal, went over the line last year. It wasn't called. So these are the things that are going to be corrected, and it's just going to be a finer game.
One of the examples that I was given was this for a play that could be upgraded to a goal that wasn't called a goal on the field, essentially, was the Sounders-Dallas late in the year. I believe it was Hercules Gomez put it in. Roman Torres called for a phantom foul.
That's right.
That would have been reviewed and would have been the Sounders goal would have been allowed if the VAR was in place. Freddie Adu serves it into the box for the Timbers, headed clear by Jake Stovall. Back to this match here is about 3 minutes plus stoppage time to go. 1-1. Timbers scored in the first half, Sounders in the second. Fernando Wadi, Harry Shipp, the goal scorers.
Ozzie Alonso laying his body on the line there. It was good to see Steve Zakawani on the bench. Steve Zakawani's made an appearance down in Tucson. Ben Zemansky has problems throwing the ball in, but has a good laugh and then does it. So Zakawani on trial.
He's been training with the Sounders. Timbers supporters, I think, will maybe not happy to see him with the Sounders, but he was there in Portland in 2014. Great guy, well-liked, I think, by Timbers faithful. How realistic is Steve Zakawani's kind of comeback attempt? Is this a comeback attempt from Steve Zakawani?
To answer that question, I'm not going to answer it. I'm going to say both he and Brian are very honest with what can happen. Steve can say to Brian, all right, I did it. Maybe it's for Steve's mind of giving another shot. There he is, Zakawani on the bench. And I was going to say to you that is he the only guy that Portland and Seattle fans are okay with? That he's just the nicest guy. He's just got the greatest heart. He's gotten into a little bit of public speaking. He's out there. I know that he had, I believe, about 17 appearances for the Timbers. Yep. He was the #1 draft pick for the Sounders in 2009. Zach Mathers takes a shot that needs to be punched over.
Yeah, Adanella, that challenged him. That was well done for Mathers from distance. Forced Adanella into action.
But he's got, watching, he joined the squad late in December, and it looked like he was just kind of having fun and getting back into it. And instead, now he's taking it up a notch, and I think he wants to see, his career was obviously cut tragically short, and he wants to see if he can try it one more time.
Mathers over this corner. Sent to the near post. McInerney, a defensive header. Hey, certainly, I think the Timbers supporters saw his personality, saw kind of that joy that he lives his life with in 2014 when he was with Portland. And, yeah, it's hard to do, right, to bounce back and forth from Seattle and Portland and not be hated by one side or the other.
Sure.
But he seemingly has been able to do it. Strong connection with a lot of the guys out here for Portland tonight. Ben Zemansky, Eric Valentine, former Akron Zips, of course, Caleb Porter, who coached Zakawani in college. Close friends with Darlington Nagbu's. Not here in Tucson right now, but...
Well, don't you think there's a human element to, getting his leg broken?
Of course.
Horrifically, and everybody, doesn't matter what jersey you're wearing, you're cheering for the guy to get back on his feet and get going. I just watched the video of him coming back to CenturyLink Field, and I had goosebumps. I remember being at the stadium, and he's a good guy. He's a sweet guy, so why not pull for him? Hope to see him on Tuesday versus San Jose. We'll see.
It would be fascinating if he can actually play in a match, I think, for Seattle. Headed towards stoppage time. Three minutes of stoppage time indicated, a minimum of 3 minutes from the fourth official. So 3 minutes for one of these rivals to try to score a winner. First week of February, first preseason match for Seattle, the third for Portland ahead of the 2017 season. Right into the gut of Hopau. Second chance cross from Ordain is deflected out for a corner. Miller couldn't keep it in play.
Hopau's been knocked around here in this second half. Big heavy tackle on the far side, and now he gets to take this home with him. Great, again, we talked about at the beginning, close to 4,500 fans here for a preseason game, and leave it to Portland and Seattle to break attendance records in a preseason match.
Second straight year they've played here, fourth of 5 years they've played in the preseason, and it feels like a big deal here in Tucson. Adu sends it into the box over the head of Lamar Batista. Williams trying to run it down. He's unable to. We're through the first of 3 minutes of stoppage time.
Nice working with you.
Yeah.
It's been enjoyable.
Bridging the gap, Portland and Seattle.
Is that what we're doing? Looked to be a handball.
And it is maybe a late chance in stoppage time for the Timbers to try to find a winner. These teams will play 3 times in the regular season. March 27th in Seattle, June 25th in Portland, and August 27th in Seattle. The Sounders get 2 home games this year. They alternate back and forth.
Timbers were tough on Seattle at Providence Park. The 4-2 after Brian took over,
yeah,
that was as good as your squad had looked in a first half.
4-0
Diego
at
Valeri,
halftime, yeah. I think best half in Timbers history, maybe second to that 5-goal away half in LA in 2015. Adu to the back post. Batista's header.
And for us Sounder fans, even Schitz and Morris score early in the second half.
Yeah, made it interesting.
It was like, all right, it's on. And then it kind of got civilized and the ball just getting knocked around. And I remember Brian Schmetzer told me after that match, well, a couple days, I didn't want to talk to him right afterwards, but a couple days he said, we're just throwing that out. I mean, we're just throwing that out. We're playing really good. Everybody's got a role. We're throwing that out. But Portland, that was the first half that was unbelievable.
One of just 3 losses for Seattle after Brian Schmetzer became the head coach. Nicholas Ladero arrived. We had 14 goals in the regular season in the 3 matches combined between these 2 teams last year. It was a treat. Certainly will be blessed if we see that again this year in 2017. Final seconds here in Tucson. Timbers and Sounders 1-1, and that is how it will end at the Keno Sports Complex. The final match for the Timbers down here in Tucson. The first match of the preseason for the Sounders. 1-1 between the rivals from the Pacific Northwest.
Congratulations on being part of a record-breaking crowd.
I'm sure positives for both teams to take from this. Caleb Porter giving a nice hug to his former college player, Steve Zakawani, former professional player as well in Portland. Both fan bases will leave pleased, I think, after a 1-1 draw. Here's a look at how it went down. We'll begin with Fernando Adi, the first goal of this match, 17th minute
diving
off a
header.
Service from Diego Valeri. You finally admit it, huh?
Come on, it's
Took
not
you 90
a diving
minutes.
header. Harry Shipp to the left-hand side, just out of the reach. Maybe Antonelli got a paw on it.
He did, didn't he? Guessed right, got his hand to it, couldn't keep it out of the net. Those were the 2 goals. It was the 17th minute from Adi, the 71st minute from Harry Shipp.
And kind of what we thought between the halves. The first half, a lot of number 1s, and it was smoother, it was crisper, it was prettier. But a lot of things to take away from the youngsters on both squads. I'm sure Caleb now heads to Portland tomorrow with, a bunch more information, and obviously now Brian Schmetzer, as he's talking to his club with Ezra Hendrickson Tuesday at 9:30 versus San Jose as in a scrimmage, and coming back home. And plenty of information for both coaches, and maybe that information is bad news for some of the guys, and some obviously have nailed the spot for the first team.
You mentioned Seattle. They play against San Jose on Tuesday, a 9:30 Pacific time start here in Tucson. That match will be streamed on SoundersFC.com. Matt Johnson will be on the call. The Timbers, they're done here in Tucson after 3 matches. Their next match Thursday at home as part of their preseason tournament against Real Salt Lake. 7:30 start. You can, of course, be there in person at Providence Park if you're in the Portland area, or watch on Timbers.com. Well, for Matt Johnson, for our entire crew here in Tucson, thank you so much for tuning in on a gorgeous Saturday evening in the desert. Final score, Portland Timbers 1, Seattle Sounders 1, a draw in the preseason between the 2 Northwest rivals. I'm Jake Simmons saying good night from Tucson.